Everyone, I am back and I'll show you what I'm working on. So this is the fender flare, and this is about the 5th time I've tried to get it right. Each time of course I thought I had it right, and then when I put it up in place there was something wrong with the curve. It's really hard to get curves to look right. So what I did was I got this curve template right here. I've got this one and a much longer one. I think the other one's like 10 feet. This one's like 3 feet, something like that. And I put it against the back fender opening because it looked right. And so I took that one, copied it, then went over to the driver's side fender and checked it against that. Made some minor adjustments because the front and rear fenders are slightly different. The wheel openings should be slightly different. Adjusted it and got it exactly, or as close as I think I can, to what I wanted. Then I went to this fender flare, which was not quite correct, and put the template against it. Actually made a lot of adjustments and then put it up against the car, and like I said, this is as close as I can get it for right now. And so then I came in, and the next thing I did was, this has like a spring metal, thin spring metal piece here that curves all along here. Well, obviously I did not want to adhere my fender flare to the template. So I covered it with the aluminum tape, like for air conditioning. This is the thinner stuff. It's along the lines of box tape, but it has aluminized coating on it. So I did that, put it along there so those two wouldn't stick together. And then I put the whole thing on a flat surface. This is a glass plate. Admittedly, it's not 100% flat, but I don't think I could get it 100% flat even if the glass was. So it's close enough. So then I put the template down to where it was flat against, and then I pushed each one of these pieces to where they're flat against the glass surface. And so theoretically, this whole surface from there to over there should be a nice flat area. It needs to be that way when you look at the car. Then earlier, before I did this, I actually was doing it a different way. Let me get this stuff out of the way and show you. All right. So if I pick this up, and by using all of these clips, it makes it less likely that when I pick this up and move it, it's going to jostle things. I could have used these old style paper clips, and I probably should have because they're stronger than these, but I already had these in place by the time I thought of using these. So it's not worth the effort of changing them unless this slips. If I feel it slips sometime when I'm doing this, then obviously I'll change. But you can see the idea was to get this edge as straight as possible. All right, so I'll come over here, and this is hard to do one-handed. I'll set this down. All right, so then what I had to do, I had to split this existing one in various places. So I made a wedge cut here because I wanted it to be flat right here, and previously it continued this curve around, and so this piece was about right here. And so I didn't like that. I wanted this to be as flat as possible. So I went ahead and, like I said, cut a V-notch in there. It's still connected right in there. You can't see, but it's connected. I use my multi-cutter right there with the carbide bit and cut that V slot in there. All right, here I had no choice. I had to move that up a little because it wasn't right. So I have a gap there I'm going to have to fill. Here I had to split it slightly and right up to here because this piece right here is the fender edge right here, and it needed to be aligned correctly. So I had to have this in the right spot and then make adjustments to the rest of it. What I did was I marked where each of these pieces supports is on the fender itself, fender flare itself, so that when I took it off of the car, I would make sure I got everything aligned as closely as possible. See, oh, that's right. So when I wanted to get this outside edge, originally I was going to leave this curve to where it was inside of here, and so it had to go behind this piece of metal, and so therefore I couldn't set it all on a flat surface. I tried to use yardstick. Remember those? I'm not sure if you do. And bend it, but it's not quite flexible enough. I mean, if it was like half the thickness, it would work. But I didn't want to break it because this is the only one I have. So that was out. So then what I did, I went to one of my boxes that I have. Let me show you. Measured it, make sure it was long enough, and I cut a piece out of the box. Actually used that yardstick, drew a line, and cut it with a razor knife. And so it's got a nice straight edge. And then what I did was I used it, set it across here. This takes 2 hands to do. But anyway, set it across here and got it straight, even though this end was like up here like that, and this end was even, I got it to where it lined up. Then at the last minute, I made this wedge cut here, went ahead and got this behind here, and then I went ahead and used this edge. It looks like this doesn't really meet the edge, but it's because I have excess of the aluminized tape here. So if you bend that over, you can see that it does match flush with the edge across there. Here's the aluminized tape that I used. It's kind of like masking tape or box tape that has an aluminum coating on it, and you can almost see through it. In fact, you can kind of see through it. This is the kind I recommend for something like this. You can use clear box tape. It works almost as well. And if you wanted to, you could actually wax the surface to guarantee that it won't stick. Oh, and the reason I stuck this up like this is, of course, I didn't want some epoxy running over the edge and attaching my part to my template, because the template was not inexpensive. All right, so now what I'm going to do is mix up some epoxy, put it across this piece, and then put a piece of carbon fiber on here. I'm going to tape this on the back side here. And there was another place, there was a gap. Yeah, right in here. I'm going to go ahead and tape those gaps closed so that when I put the epoxy and the carbon fiber on there, it will have a better chance of being level. Let's see, I think that's all I was going to tell you. All right, so that's the next thing. Mix up some epoxy, put down some carbon fiber, try this again. Unfortunately, with the epoxy and carbon fiber, it takes 2 days to cure solidly enough to handle. So it'll be 2 days before I know if I did this right. But again, this is like my 5th try, so whatever works is fine with me. All right, that is all I've got for now. So like, subscribe, hit the alert, hit the thanks if you want to donate. And if you don't like what I'm doing, you don't know Jack. Bye.